Hello and welcome to the Unlucky Frog Gaming Podcast. You are joined by your two usual hosts here, Tom Mannering.
Hello.
And myself, Josh Hartley. How are you doing this week, Tom?
I'm very, very tired. There wasn't an episode last week. That was due to two factors. One, I was in the midst of moving from my flat to my house. And two, on the night we did try and record, when we tried to squeeze it in, my microphone packed up. So that was a bit of a combination of disasters. But I am now in my new house. I'm currently... I don't have the internet at the moment, so I'm currently hotspotting so we can record this episode.
Yeah.
So it's all go at the moment. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. You've got a fancy new microphone as well.
I do, yes. Courtesy of yourself and the podcast's budget, I have a nice Blue Yeti, so I can join the Blue Yeti club and pretend I'm all professional and stuff.
Hey, we are professional.
The height of professionalism.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Yeah, I'm good. I've been off most of this week. I've just had days off to use. It was my birthday on Thursday, so I went out for a nice meal with my family, and received some nerdy games as presents as well. So that's been great. So.
I didn't realise it was your birthday on Thursday, buddy. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I don't normally make a big song and dance of it, to be fair. So
if I hadn't been moving, I probably would have caught it.
Right.
I am sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I got Dominion off my mum and dad, which I've been wanting for a while.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to giving that a go. Well, I've played it before, but I'm looking forward to getting that to the table again and showing the guys down here how to play it. So,
what else did you do?
What else did I with my week off?
Yeah.
Well, time off rather, because I was working Thursday and Friday. I just bits and pieces. I've got my Christmas tree up, so the house is looking very festive. Yeah, and just hung out with my mum and dad for a bit. Sort of obviously caught up with the rest of my family at my birthday meal. It was a friend of mine turned 40 on the same day as me as well, Paulie.
Right.
So what I got him for his 40th birthday present was I painted him a miniature of his D&D character.
Nice.
So thanks to Ashenhold thanks to Ashenhold Art Air Horns. Ben printed off an STL file that I made off Hero Forge.
Right.
So I just painted that up.
Nice.
And yeah, Paulie was chuffed with it, so which I'm glad for.
That's really good.
Yeah. So other than that, been playing a bunch of Magic the Gathering as per usual. And yeah, nothing else exciting really.
Fair
So a couple of things. We should mention our Patreons and plug the Patreon again, given that we've just used that money to purchase Tom here a new microphone. So if you're listening to this and you're enjoying this, the link below for our Patreon will be there. Give that a click and you can donate as little as $1 a month, and everything really helps us out, just keeps the lights on.
And we do actually use the money for equipment, not hookers and blow. So, that's always good.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a few loyal Patreons, but we'd need to save up a few months to get some hookers and blow with it. So we decided to get a microphone instead.
Yeah. So sometimes you've just got to compromise.
Exactly. This is our artistic integrity here. So, but yeah, we've got a couple of things to talk about this week. You mentioned that there's a new release for D&D.
There is,
out, isn't there?
Yeah, so this was announced a while back, but it's actually sort of starting to hit the shelves now. So it's Strixhaven Curriculum of Chaos, which is another Magic the Gathering setting that's being converted over to 5th edition D&D. So we've had a couple of these already. We've had obviously Ravnica, and we've had Theros, as well as the little sort of mini splat books they did on the internet as well. So this is Strixhaven coming over. It's on Roll20 already, I believe, and I think it's on D&D Beyond already. But the hardback book, I think, is coming out in the next week or two, which is what I'll be picking up, because I don't do digital books. I'm old school. So yeah, that's coming out, which I'm quite excited about. The things I've seen sort of teased and the reviews I've seen are very, very positive about it. Everything I'm seeing kind of says although it is a Magic the Gathering specific book, it's the contents of it in regards to like magic schools and things like that is supposedly very sort of transposable, and you could use it in any setting to like represent a magic college.
Yeah, and I don't think there's the setting of Strixhaven doesn't have many of the other characters that sort of cross over into the other planes in Magic the Gathering. So you've got Liliana, who has got a alter ego there. She's one of the professors at the college. But yeah, you don't really need to be interested in Magic the Gathering to get something out of this setting, I don't think.
No, and I think that's potentially going to be the same with the D&D expansion. I think, obviously, if you do like Magic the Gathering, you're probably going to get a little bit more bang for your buck. But I think in general, from what I've seen of it, it certainly seems to suggest that you're going to, if you enjoy D&D in general, and you potentially have any interest in like putting a magical school or a magical college, or you want to do your own little Harry Potter RPG with 5th edition, this could well be a really good resource for you in that way. And I think it has some new races and some new class archetypes as well, although I've not really delved into those yet. I'm not sure if this is the one. I did see there was an expansion coming out that has like owl people in it, and I think that might be this one. It will be this one.
Yeah, it will be this one, because there are a bunch of like owl characters on the cards.
Okay.
So if you want to play an owl wizard, this is your opportunity. And who wouldn't, frankly?
I mean, in fairness, I'm a sucker for like new races. Like if a book brings out a race that I've not really seen done before, and it's not some like stupidly edgelord race, like I'm usually in for it. Like when they brought out the recent Feywild adventure, Wild Beyond the Witchlight, I immediately went a game I was playing, and I went and played a bunny person. Because they were in it. Admittedly, I only played that guy for one character because the campaign ended. For one session, sorry, because the campaign ended. But yeah, I love like trying out new races and stuff. So I suspect it's probably the one that if I do get a chance to play a game in the not too distant future, I might well play an owl person.
Yeah. Are we going to wheel out that old meme of you being a furry again?
No, owls like does fur. I mean, owls don't have fur, right? They have feathers. So does that count?
Yeah, but like, I don't think that matters. I think it's just like how do you say that word, Tom?
Anthropomorphic.
That's the one. Yeah, thank you. Thank
No
you
problem.
for helping me not undermine my own bit. Yeah, the anthropomorphic people. Animals. I thought that was the whole shtick. I get it's feathers, not fur, but
the thing is, though, I don't want to dwell too long on this. Like,
we're going to dwell on this.
As much as I do like anthropomorphic animal characters, like the rabbit men and the owl folk and stuff like that, I don't like. It's not about them being sexualized in any way. Like, I don't go in for like the Space Jam sexy bunny girl or the the hyper muscular like people like, and they're just, for me it's just another race. It's no different to like an elf or a dwarf or anything. It's just something a bit different. Yeah. And the reality is that when you come to other races, more often than not in D&D, if it's not one of the humanoid races, elves, dwarves, halflings, it's going to be some sort of animal-inspired thing. So your lizard men or, things like that. I mean, even like your kobolds and stuff like that all take on a kind of animalistic trait, don't they? They're kind of reptilian as well. So I think, like, you not to try and defend myself, I think you're overgeneralizing a bit on the furry point.
Yeah, no, I'll drop it now. I'll drop it now.
Okay,
but,
you better.
Yeah.
I know where you live. Actually, I don't. I have no idea where you live.
Wow. Okay.
I don't. You live in Carlisle. That's all I know.
No, as in like saying I know where you live. Sorry, I'm moaning because I'm trying to get a news article up in front of me for the next thing that we're talking about, and
A consummate professional.
Well, and it's just like adverts everywhere. Like there's more adverts than content, and it just pisses me off. Should we get on to? I'm in a short mood today.
This is because we're recording in the morning, whereas we normally record in the evening. So Josh's coffee hasn't had a chance to kick in yet. I think that's what's happening.
No, exactly. I'm actually still in my pajamas and dressing gown.
Our listeners don't need to hear that, Josh. We're not trying to haunt their nightmares.
What's nightmarish about me in a dressing gown?
Many things, many things. Right, shall we move on to this article?
Yes. So, Tom, as you may be aware, Henry Cavill was on the Graham Norton show recently. And during the interview, the fact that he plays Warhammer came up, and Graham was giving him a bit of a ribbing for it. But it was, Henry was being polite and just explaining what it is and what you do with it. Tom Holland was there, and Tom seemed interested, but I would be very surprised if Tom hadn't heard of Warhammer, given that he grew up in England and Games Workshops are a big thing here. So this went out, and the internet has kind of reacted. The internet's a bit pissed off at Graham Norton.
Sure.
I'm trying to find some quotes here, like a professional, but for context, Graham Norton. The BBC has said this in a recent article. Graham Norton was sort of portraying it as a little peculiar or weird, almost like, haven't you got better things to be doing with your time? That was definitely a shame. You've seen the clip, haven't you?
I have, yes.
Well, what do you think of it?
I think he was a bit dismissive of it, and I think there was a little bit of derision to the way he kind of put it across. I think it's a tricky one because Graham Norton is prone to a bit of banter with his guests, and he does kind of, I wouldn't say he gives them a hard time, but he does give them a bit of a ribbon, And I think it could have been handled better, but I don't think it's necessarily the end of the world. It was maybe not his finest moment, but I think people are maybe overreacting a little bit to it.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about. Like, I would go further. I think this is just sort of normal for the hobby that we play, and he wasn't being mean or anything. He was just giving him a gentle ribbing, like how my dad gives me a bit of a ribbing for being into nerdy stuff. And I don't know. I just think, it's just a bit of a joke. Like we can take it, surely.
We can take it. I suppose if I was playing devil's advocate, right, and if you kind of flip the script on it a little bit, you wouldn't take that kind of tonality on him if it was football or fishing, or something like that, a mainstream hobby, for want of a better way. So I suppose in that way, if you were really kind of being critical, you could say that the way he handled it was a bit unprofessional, I suppose.
Right.
Because he is sort of taking the fact that he does a hobby that isn't a mainstream hobby, although it is becoming more and more commonplace for people to do things like this. And he's kind of, picking on him a bit for it, I suppose. And it's not like within the hobby Henry Cavill does anything weird. So for example, right, just to give you a really out there example, if Henry Cavill had come on and Graham Norton had been like, you're into fishing, and Henry Cavill's like, yeah, I like fishing, and then he starts giving her a ribbon because when Henry Cavill goes fishing, he dresses up as a leprechaun, then I could kind of understand it, right? Because
let's hold the brake. Put the brakes on for a second. How did that come into your head?
I'm very creative. I'm a GM. Like,
Evidently.
So
Henry Cavill, the fishing leprechaun.
So you just kind of, you're taking something and then you're taking it to an unusual degree or an unusual path. Then I couldn't understand it. But within the hobby itself, he's not unusual. In fact, I imagine compared to most hobbyists, Henry Cavill is probably quite low key on his hobby. He's given his schedule. The guy's built as fuck, right? Like he's a physical specimen. He has multiple projects that he's involved in filming, which are going to all be very demanding. I'm not sure if he has a family and things. I don't know Henry Cavill's background, but I'm sure he has personal life. And I know for a fact Henry Cavill has other hobbies as well, because he's a massive gamer. He built his own PC rig. He nearly missed his audition for Superman because he was raiding on World of Warcraft. Like, he is a full-on nerd in that regard. So he's going to have other interests. So, his hobby is probably just part of a very small, a very diverse section of hobbies that he's involved in and things that, his life takes up time with. So, I don't know. I think maybe this is just me playing devil's advocate. If I was going to go on their side of it, I do think maybe it was unnecessary for him to kind of approach it like that. If he'd approached it with a degree of curiosity and had a bit of a laugh with him about it, it would have been fine. But there is certainly, if you do watch it, it's more Graham Norton laughing at Henry Cavill. And Henry Cavill's quite straight-faced, and he's very polite, and he takes it all very well, but he's not laughing with him. He's laughing at him.
Yeah.
And I suppose and in tune, the audience are laughing at him, which is ridiculous because look at the guy. He's an Adonis. Like, he's a really nice guy. Like, he's got charisma in spades. He's been in loads of really good films and TV shows. Some less good, but loads of really good ones. And he always, in the interviews I've seen with him, he always comes across as really level-headed and a really nice guy. And he's dead respectful. Like, just to slightly go on a tangent, there's a YouTube video, and it's actors interviewing actors. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's...
No, I have not.
It's Patrick Stewart interviewing Henry Cavill and vice versa. And Henry Cavill is so respectful and so deferential to Patrick Stewart. Like, he always calls him Sir Patrick. Like, every time he says his name, he says Sir Patrick. And he's just the way he talks to him is it's almost borders on hero worship. Like, the way he kind of he looks up to him and respects him, which is amazing. So he always comes across as a really nice guy in that context. So that, if I was going the other way on it, I would say potentially maybe was a little bit out of sorts and a bit unprofessional, if you want to take that stance on it.
I can see the point. It's just, my thing is, let's just all chill out, guys. Come on, it wasn't that big.
And I suppose as well, if you want to go the next step with it, is you could look at it from the perspective as, and this certainly happened to me. A lot of people involved in this hobby, especially at a younger age, do get bullied for it. We've all been in a games workshop and had people, walk past and yell abusive things in. I've had things, when I worked in the stores, I had things thrown into the store. There was a lot of people out there who did bully people. I remember when I was at school, people would have their cases stolen off them and thrown across the yard with all their minis inside them. Because we played at school, we had an after-school club. So there was a degree of bullying. So I suppose, in a way, you could look at it as a little bit triggering to some people as well. Maybe this is just bringing up...
Perhaps, I never actually thought of it from that angle, because it was. I stand by it. What Graham Norton said, it was very gentle. It wasn't just shouting at Henry Cavill, "Nice books, nerd," and pushing him down the stairs or something. I get your point on that. because people, I got bullied. I got bullied for a lot of things, Warhammer being one of them.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I do want to be clear. I personally wasn't offended by it. And I saw it and I was like, okay, whatever. And, I got on with my day. But I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes of people who are annoyed at it.
As you said, you're playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Which is important for any discussion like this.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, the other takeaway from it though is it is similar to when we talked about Post Malone playing Magic the Gathering, and since that episode came out, he's been in a ton of videos on YouTube playing Magic.
Yeah.
It is really nice seeing these celebrities promote our hobby.
100%. And I think as well, the one takeaway I would maybe have up from that in a positive light is maybe there was someone who was watching that who's maybe been a bit interested in Warhammer or similar, and just not quite had the confidence to take the leap because they're worried how they're going to be perceived. And you see someone like Henry Cavill is involved in it, that really is going to take the edge off it.
I wish someone like Henry Cavill was playing when I was a kid, because it's like, if someone gives you grief for it, it's like, well, Henry Cavill plays it. What the hell?
Yeah. Exactly. Like it's an interesting one, and I think we talked about this. Like Tom Holland was there as well. And Tom Holland even says, now I don't know if this is just Tom Holland trying to be nice and sort of take the attention and the sting off Henry Cavill, or if it was genuine, but he actually expresses like an interest in it. Now, is it likely that episode finished recording and Henry Cavill took Tom Holland to a Games Workshop? Probably not. But it's still nice to have...
I like to think that happened. They just went to one of the London stores immediately after recording, and it's like, right, time to throw down.
I think legally Tom Holland and Henry Cavill can't be friends because one's DC and one's Marvel. It's just not allowed.
Oh, we can't cross them over.
To have them on the same
Have they
page.
not done like DC Marvel crossover comics though? They've done tons of them, right?
Very historically. It's not something that's been done for a very long time. They did a few back in like the 80s and 90s. There might have even been one as late as the noughties possibly. They're not very good. To say the least. They are. There a lot of them are very much just like who'd win out of a fight between X and Y, and what they did was they put it to a vote, like a reader's vote. And then the character that won the vote would win the fight, and they would basically kind of write it out. They did this weird thing as well, and I'm going to go slightly off topic here, but this merits
go for it. I live for this.
So there was a crossover between Marvel and DC that was very much like that, where the characters fought each other. And at the end of it, for whatever reason, and I do have this comic somewhere, but I can't remember why this happens. For whatever reason, the characters merge together. So like Batman's fighting Wolverine, and then after the fight happens, they get like merged together, and it created something called the Amalgam Universe. And I don't know if this was like a joint venture between Marvel or DC, but it was like characters that were made out of a fusion of two characters. So I remember...
Oh, weird.
Like it's super weird. Like if you want to look into this, like go away after the episode, Josh and listeners, and search the Amalgam Universe, and you'll see like these combinations of like, I think it was like Batman and Wolverine, and it was like Captain America and like either Superman or Wonder Woman, I can't quite remember. I think there was like Spider-Man and Superboy at that point, I think it was.
Yeah.
And like they had like these kind of... It was really shit. It was super 90s, like for a start.
Yeah.
And they had these really horrible like costumes and these kind of weird fusions of powers that didn't really fuse together and stuff. And it was such a strange concept. And I remember they did have like a small run after, I think, as well, of comics with these characters. It didn't last, obviously, because it was garbage. But yeah, you don't really see Marvel and DC properties crossed over. I mean, certainly not with the cinematic universes, but not for a long time. Hasn't there been a proper crossover?
My pal had, it's not Marvel DC, but he did have a comic of Batman versus Predator.
That's quite common. That's surprisingly common.
Because I'm aware of Batman versus Aliens as well.
Yeah.
Which is seems insane to me, but there we go.
I think DC are a bit more trigger happy with like the crossovers with
A bit more loosey goosey.
Yeah, with other IPs, and Marvel have done it as well. There was, I think Marvel has Transformers crossover. I think there's a Marvel Star Trek crossover as well.
I think Doctor Who's appeared in the Marvel universe as well, has he not?
I'm not sure about that one. You could be right, but I'm not sure. I know there's definitely, this is a weird one, there's a Punisher Archie crossover, which is super strange.
Wow.
Yeah. But then I know like DC had quite a successful run with the Aliens and Predators crossing over into the DC universe, and I read a few of those as well back in the day. But they were always really weird because they'd have to find reasons why like Superman would struggle to fight a xenomorph and stuff like that. And I think like one of the crossovers was at a point where Superman had been like really depowered for some reason, and then like another one was like he was fighting them out in space and he went too far away from the sun, so his powers started to diminish as well and stuff like that. So it's about trying to kind of force reasons why they would actually have a chance against Superman, which is, you know, that's a pretty common problem with Superman in general when you're putting him against less powerful characters.
Yeah,
for sure. So yeah, it is interesting. Crossovers they're not a new thing by any stretch of the imagination. They go way back to the old days because it was money. You know, like if money has incentivized things, it's always been there. And they were certainly part of it. Anyway, we were talking about Henry Cavill, weren't we?
yeah. It's fine. It's fine. Our listeners know what we're like by now.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they probably would still be listening.
So, I think the only other thing to say is this is going to be our last episode of 2021. We're going to take our usual Christmas break. I'm just going to drop this in here. You might see me online over the Christmas period. Certain things willing. Basically, if I end up getting this gaming PC, which is looking likely now. So, I might do a bit of streaming over the festive period while I'm off.
How exciting!
Probably Magic the Gathering online. But I might have a go at some digital board games as well. Keep it tabletop focused or adjacent at the very least.
Yeah, sure. I mean that's our wheelhouse, right?
Yeah, that's the purpose of the podcast.
More or
Don't
less.
talk about anything else. Yeah, loosely. So, but no, I think the only other thing to say is that I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. Have you got your plan is to head back down and see your mum, isn't it, Tom?
It is, yeah. I'm travelling back down to England for the first time in like 3 years for Christmas to go and spend time with my family. I've actually got my mum up in Scotland at the moment. This is a slightly funny story just to end on. My mum is up in Scotland at the moment. She's currently in my old flat cleaning it for me.
Oh, nice. Nice.
She volunteered. I just want to
bless her.
I just want to make this clear. I didn't ask.
Oh, look, that's lovely.
Yeah, because she knew that like I'd be quite busy, you know, moving and setting up the new flat and waiting for deliveries and things. Like I'm waiting on a sofa and a bed and all that kind of stuff in the new house. So she was like, "Oh well, you know, I'll come up. It gives me something to do, and I'll clean the house. I'll clean the flat for you." So I was like, "That's nice." So I'm gonna once we wrap up here. Once I've got another delivery this afternoon, I'm going to go over and give her a hand. Give my old mum a hand.
Excellent.
And then I'm going to spend Christmas with her.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. I am obviously just spending Christmas with my family down here. So
makes sense.
Very much looking forward to it. I've got a lot of time off booked as well, so it'll be great not to worry about work for a couple of weeks.
It's the dream.
And I've almost got all my Christmas shopping done. I've got a few bits and pieces left to get, but
nice.
But mostly done. Mostly.
Haven't even started mine yet.
Aha, nice.
I'm sure one of these. I'm one of these, like, you know, December the 20th Christmas shoppers.
Wow. Okay, I used to be like that, but I can't take the anxiety of that anymore.
It doesn't bother me.
Oh. Rightio. Well, I think on that note, then, thank you guys very much for listening and for sticking with us throughout 2021. We will be back in 2022 in January, and but until next time, Take care.
Bye.
Bye.